My boyfriend seems resentful towards women because he believes men are treated unfairly by society, and it's wearing on me. Edit, BF, M35, me, F34. Edit 2, wow, lots of comments at work now, will reply soon. Edit 3, home now. Well, I'm getting both awarded, thank you, and downvoted to hell. Very interesting. Trying to reply where I can, thanks to everyone that wrote thoughtful comments. The way he talks about it whenever he sees or hears anything about a woman being oppressed or mistreated is filled with anger, and I don't know how to respond. Honestly, it bothers me quite a bit. The latest example would be yesterday. There was a news article about a server who got a bottle thrown at her face when she tried to enforce mask mandates or whatever, and a crazy customer retaliated. There was a picture of this girl with a bloody gash on her face, and his first reaction was to go, if it was a man nobody would care. Seriously? First of all, gender had nothing to do with the article, in fact the attacker was also a woman. And secondly, caring about something that happened to a woman does not automatically equal caring less about what happens to men. Whenever he refers to feminists, he's really referring to the extreme subset of men haters and not the ones simply trying to fight for equality. I think he might not even believe women are oppressed at all, but doesn't say it not to offend me. He also doesn't understand that the term toxic masculinity actually refers to behaviors that are harmful to both men and women, and seems to think it implies all men are toxic or something. Like, he brings up often how people don't take male mental illness seriously, which I think is very true and should change. Well, that's because toxic masculinity perpetuates that men can't have emotions or be vulnerable. We are agreeing here. My boyfriend is a really special, sensitive, wonderful person with a history of childhood physical and sexual abuse that led to panic attacks, depression and anxiety. It really upsets him when he feels people are saying men are privileged and their suffering isn't real or as real. Yes, there are those people that act like white straight men are the devil and it's okay to shit all over them because they are the oppressor, and that's wrong. I wish he could see that that's not everyone and that minorities fighting for their rights don't invalidate his suffering. How can I express that I think he needs to stop having this giant chip on his shoulder without being insensitive? And that as a woman it upsets me when he acts like my whole gender have a victim complex. Dude's 35. He's not changing. He's very ignorant, and it would take having someone sitting him down constantly explaining exactly how privilege works and how toxic masculinity work against him and everyone. Like, this guy's trauma caused him to have his head up his ass. Or 4 months in. You can't change people. That's their decision. You haven't dated him very long. Maybe cut your losses abs, try for someone that doesn't hate women. This is sensible advice op won't take. BF, M35, me, F34. Well, that seems old enough to know better. My boyfriend is a really special, sensitive, wonderful person with a history of childhood physical and sexual abuse that led to panic attacks, depression and anxiety. Welp, therapy gets posted to nearly every thread on here and so here's me piling on. 4 months, together. Too early in the relationship to be carrying somebody else's baggage. I really have nothing to add that hasn't been said here. He needs a therapist and he will not be by your side if you ever have a problem in that area. One thing I can add is that I knew someone who was like this, and they never changed. Never will. I ended that friendship after 2 years. If you go to someone and tell them about the issues you are facing and the only thing they have to add is, well, if it was a man no one would care, it seems rude, disrespectful and kind of incel. Why waste time on someone like that? A 35-year-old man with these views is deplorable. Plus they've only been dating for 4 months. Why in the world would you waste your time? Your boyfriend needs therapy. My coworker, 17M, is homeless and I, 24F, don't know what to do. My coworker got kicked out of his house after a dispute with his mother. He apparently has been homeless for over a week, but I had no idea this was going on because of his usual goofy ass demeanor at work. After he said he didn't know where he would sleep tonight, I immediately told him to come stay in the extra bedroom of my place that I share with my boyfriend. He was also kicked out of his home at the age of 15 and took care of himself since then. so he is completely understanding and sympathetic to the situation. I just don't know where to go from here. I feel weird having a teenager in my home that isn't related to me. I am stuck in a state of anxiety and sadness for what will happen to him, but I also don't want to feel responsible for him. I just don't know what to do now. Edit. So I've compiled lots of good information and resources thanks to those who offered it. I've got a list of services I'm going to get him to contact so that people who actually know how to help him can put him on the right path. I'm going to sit him down today to go over them and help him do some applications/appointments. Again, thank you everyone who came here with some solid advice and the proper resources. You did a good thing for the guy, but he needs to understand that this is a temporary fix and he needs to get himself back on his feet in a reasonable time frame. Set some kind of deadline for him to get his own place and get out, 1 week, month, etc. But do not make this an indefinite thing or will probably start to hurt your relationship with your BF as well. That is a good point. I do want to help him, but I'm also not trying to enable him in avoiding a problem. I've never had to deal with a situation like this before, so I don't know what will make it better or worse. My boyfriend lived with his best friend and his mom until he was 18, so he was super chill about it and said he could stay as long as he needs, but I don't think he's viewing this from an objective perspective. His best friend's mother loved him like a son and still does to this day. I just don't know what a realistic time limit is, and I don't think my BF does either. Don't make it a parent/family living situation but a tenant situation. Set house rules. Let him pay a few $100s a month so he is helping out, but it can give him a few months to save up and move out on his own. He would be responsible for his own food, groceries, etc. Not sure what his situation is like at home, but if he lived for a week outside it must be really bad. I wouldn't suggest making him go back home or even calling CPS, cause those situations are horrible. It seems like he has a job now that is stable, and with a little help from you he can get his feet on the ground. I'm not trying to move him into my home. The second bedroom is mine because my BF is annoying as fuck to sleep next to, and he wakes up at 4:30 AM for work, whereas I usually go to bed around 1 to 2 AM. I'm just trying to give him somewhere to sleep until I can make him figure out an actual game plan, but I am unsure what advice, information, or tools to guide him towards. My hope is that he can eventually get through to his dad because he is technically his legal guardian over the mother. Okay, so a few thoughts here. 1. He is a minor. Some states have stricter laws than others. For example, in Utah, you could get in serious trouble for this, even if he's technically kicked out. My suggestion to you would be that if he is welcome, let him know that you will do what you can to help him, but you absolutely need to protect yourself legally depending on how wacko his parents may be. Depending on his age, he may be turning 18 soon, or you may be able to get him to file for emancipation. I'd suggest the latter. That process on a minimum takes 2 months, and parents have to have a 3 weeks notice. 2. You and him need to contact a local homeless youth group, social services, etc., and just run through stuff with them, to once again make sure it's all good. This could also help him out with things like resources, etc. You can also find better placement for him. 3. I know the kid seems nice, but run a background check. You don't know why he got kicked out, and it doesn't sound like you know him too well. Just search the public record and see if he's committed a crime within the past year or so. Kids at that age are often tried as adults. 4. Set some serious ground rules if he's going to continue living there. Make sure he knows those rules. Additionally, set up a plan or something. The goal is to get him back on his feet, not be his new mommy. These are all very good points. Thank you. Not sure which state or area you're in, but there are services for transitional aged youth. Where I'm located, there is a specific agency that would be able to provide services and temporary shelter, as well as get him connected to financial services and medical coverage. I'd research what services are in your area. Have a GF and had gay sex? Please read. I'd got to do. I'm so fucking scared. I got absolutely hammered at my place, I live with my former boss who is gay. It was me and him and a couple of my work homies. We were in my room. I was too drunk so I pass out on my bed and they all hung out talking and shit. I wake up around 4 AM still pretty damn drunk, everybody gone and somehow I'm having sex with my roommate. I genuinely have no clue how TF it even happened or started. I was genuinely scared and I didn't know what to do. I was just laying on my back. I wasn't penetrated at all. It was him getting penetrated. But I feel like I cheated my GF. I'm not even gay either and now I just feel so fucking down. I could have told him to stop. I could have ended it, but I didn't. I didn't even enjoy any of it. So I just laid there and let it happen. I'm just scared cause I don't know if it was my fault. I love my GF to death and I feel so fucking guilty about it. After it was done, which I didn't ejaculate at all and I told him alright I'm done, so after he goes to clean up I just fucking bawled my eyes out. It was probably the hardest I've cried in my life. I started sending my GF messages of how much I love and miss her. I feel so devastated like I made the biggest mistake ever. So I go back to bed and I wake up at 11 AM and he comes in to talk to me, but it's more of he starts touching me and being all intimate and touching my penis. I was just so scared to say no. Mind you, I have social anxiety so it makes it even harder. But later that day he comes in the room and does the same, and that's when I tell him I'm not into him like that and I don't want anything sexual to do with him, and he tells me okay, nothing happened at all and we're just friends. But I just can't stop thinking about it. I feel like absolute shit and I'm so disgusted. What do I fucking do? I don't want this to affect my relationship with my GF and I feel like if I hang with her I'm just gonna be thinking of it and how bad I feel for her. I don't wanna tell her either because her biggest fear is having a BF turn gay on her. I can't even say whether I gave consent or not because I literally don't have a clue of how it started. Zero fucking clue. I just hope it's not considered cheating because that's the last thing I'd ever want to do. Ever. I feel so uncomfortable being around him now. All I wanna do is just hide in my room and not even look at him. Edit. Thank you to everyone for trying to help me. I really do appreciate it. I've just been trying to process what happened. I feel like it's my fault. How can he act so polite and like he's still my friend? Does that mean I came off like I wanted it? How did I maintain an erection? I surely didn't want it, but how can I still keep my erection? I just don't know how to think about it. I asked him about it, about how it even started. He said he came back into the room and I was falling off of my bed, so he picked me up and I supposedly grabbed his hand and pulled him. But the thing is, I remember waking up on my back. I have zero memory of any of that. I can't go to the police because there is literally no proof on it. He keeps saying don't feel bad about it, nothing happened at all. And then he tells me all he did was give me head and then nothing more happened. I remember him being on top. I remember that because that's when I started getting more into my senses and that's when I said no and got him off. I just keep feeling like I might have made it seem like I enjoyed it, like I wanted it, but I didn't. I just feel it's my fault. I asked him about STDs and he said he gets his blood checked pretty regularly because of diabetes and he gets checked up quite regularly. I still need to get checked, but I made a huge mistake having sex with my GF. I didn't even think of possible STDs until you guys said something. I possibly could have brought her into this and I feel so bad. I really appreciate every one of your guys' supportive comments. I thank you all. I had no clue this could be considered rape. I think it's the fact that I feel like I did something to get him to do it. I feel so disgusted thinking back to it. I also moved in here about a month ago and I have nowhere else to go besides here. Edit 2. I just wanted to remind you none of my homies should be called dicks or anything. They all trusted him because he was also their boss as well. They all left early and I'm sure none of them would have expected that to happen. He also doesn't work with us anymore as he got let go. But they shouldn't be blamed at all for this. Edit 3. Would this be rape or sexual assault considering I wasn't penetrated at all but he was the one getting penetrated and was giving me head before that?